Hey traders, TG Watkins here. It is September 26th when I'm recording this, and this is going to be for Simplr's, their free video, their premium video, and then also for anybody out on YouTube for my Profit Pilot video. So we're going to be capturing everybody for this one. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Enjoy the upcoming weekend. And if you have any more questions, just remember simplrtrading.com/Moxie is where you can find more information about me. All right, so now as we get into it, let's talk a little bit about the economic data. So Thursday we had jobless claims, which were not that bad. It came in line. And so what that kind of said is if things aren't getting that bad, then maybe the Fed is not going to cut rates 3 times this year. Maybe they're only going to do 2 or anything else like that. So the market went down based on that news. However, we then had data today, Friday, that was PCE, and it basically showed that there wasn't really any inflation, which kind of also said, well, maybe they will stick with rate cuts because there's no inflation. So the market was just kind of bouncing around a little bit. You know, good news versus bad news, good for the market, bad for the economy, and vice versa, all that kind of stuff. We also saw weakness at the highs starting last week. I'm going to show you that and how we got the market to pull back. And that's kind of why over here, if you look at the trades that we've had or anything I can kind of talk to you guys about today, there's just not too much because we had a really, really big couple of weeks, last week and the week before as the market shot up because of rate cuts. So we were really having a good time with it. Just to kind of show you, we made 317% in a matter of a couple hours for a SPX day trade. You can see that here. This was on the 24th in the morning. I'm on the West Coast. And we put on a directional put right here. You can see it was started at $4.70 and we sold it for 22 and change. And then we sold the rest just like 5 minutes later because it was like, good enough. 317% for a couple hours. We'll take that. So that was a really, really nice trade for us. And if you want to see here, this is what it looked like. I also posted this on the social medias. So if you guys want to go look at X, you can go see this. But yeah, that was our entry and that was our exit. Awesome trade. Very, very happy about that one. And then I was expecting the market to pull back. So when we got our drop on Thursday, we were able to cash in a call credit spread that I had from last Friday. So literally it took just short of a week, and we cashed that in for plus 70% gain. It was a bigger position because it took a week, and I figured that was going to be some insurance for my portfolio, so kind of a hedge. And then I was trying to do a put credit spread yesterday. Market didn't like it, so we just got out pretty quickly. 30% loss, no big deal. Tesla, we did capture some profits, plus 220% on the calls. Amazingly, Tesla continues to stay up, so we will talk about that one also. Rocket Lab, I kind of got chopped out a little bit. I was just in stock, leveraged ETF stock, so up, down, whatever. I'm out of it now. And then Solana, we saw some weakness in the cryptos. Ethereum's down, Bitcoin's down. A lot of stocks related to that are down, and we're basically back to break even on something like that. So I just wanted to show you guys what's been going on with some of the names and tickers out there. Other than that, we've had a couple of new people. So Ritu, new to the Moxie room. Thank you for your sessions. They're really knowledgeable. And he said all his life he stayed away stocks because he didn't like to lose money. And I'm glad he joined my session when he got into the business. So, we're doing well over here. And the new people, welcome to the room. Glad you guys are enjoying it and doing well in the Moxie room. Brighter side, I got to post this, man, because this is hilarious. My tax guy is going to be like, WTF, did you do differently? And he's like, I'm just going to whisper, Moxie. So yeah, I love that. So I know a lot of us are going to be having some tax problems this year. Unfortunately, they're good problems, but the tax man's going to be coming pretty big for us this year. So yeah, good problem to have, but yeah, hilarious. Moxie. So yeah, I just wanted to put that up there for you guys. And then High Vibrations, in his first 2 weeks in the Moxie room, he was able to get his account balance up over the 25,000 PDT. Now, amazingly, this may actually be a non-issue anymore. For those of you who have been paying attention, the Trump administration might actually be getting rid of the PDT rule, which I think is a good thing. It doesn't really seem to matter, like whatever. But good accomplishment that you're able to get out of that restriction until that finally goes away. And then 2.5 months, maybe 3 months total after being in the Moxie room, your account is now up 210%. He says it's 62,000 now. Of course, for legal issues, I cannot confirm that. This is a testimonial, so take it for what it is. But that is what he's putting out there, and amazing returns in 3 months. Of course, that means we have been having a good market, but that also means that I've been doing a pretty good job of guiding everybody into really, really nice trades out there that have been successful. So yeah, come on over if you guys are feeling like you're missing out on the market or just kind of not having these kind of returns. Come on over to the Moxie room, and this is my kind of market. I tell you, when the small caps start running, we're having a good time. And then also what you guys might have seen on the social medias. If you haven't, this is my trade setup. It's kind of where I'm at right now. And if you want to see the video, it's on YouTube and on X and everything else like that. So just little stuff there. Okay, let's dive into it. If you guys see here, these are going to be kind of the overall general market things that we're going to be going through. And then I've got a list of tickers that I want to run through with you guys as well. So I'm going to bring that back down here so we can look at that later. And if we are looking at the SPX, actually, let me bring that over to here because there are two things that I want to show you. And this is why that we shorted the market, and also seasonality, and that's why we took that call credit spread and all that kind of stuff. The first thing to note, and it's a little bit hard to see if you can see it on your own charts, up here on the SPX, the NASDAQ was really obvious too, along with ARKK. They all ran up after the FOMC and went outside of their third ATRs, which is an excessive level. You can see here, 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 and here, they were all excessive. And you can see that we got pullbacks after each one of them. Now, whether the pullback is down a lot or sideways, basically price wanted to go away from that point, and that's why we put on a call credit spread, and we were prepared that the market's going to start pulling back, which you guys have probably been noticing based on your accounts. The other thing to see is that there is a trend line here, and you can see we actually went just outside of that trend line and then rolled over. Market loves to mess with people, loves to kind of go up there, ring a bell, get some more people in there, and then roll it over. But we were prepared for that, and we were able to cash in that 70% gain on that call credit spread right there on the lows Thursday morning. And that was nice. So going from here, what I'm kind of looking at is, obviously we were getting a bounce. Today's Friday, getting that bounce, no surprise. Price came right into moving average support on that daily chart. And now really the question is, do we get more weakness, or do we get chop, or is this it, or does the market go higher? I'm leaning towards, I think we should get a little bit more weakness, but I'm not doing anything about that yet. In fact, all the trades that I have are bullish. And so if we are going to get some more weakness, I want to see if we actually come up a little bit more and then see if we come and roll over down here. So I'm looking for it, and I'll keep an eye, but we'll kind of see. I don't want to be too aggressive on the downside because this is still a very, very strong market, and we did get a pullback. But if we do pull back, I'm kind of wondering if we actually break below the daily 21 and then maybe come down to, if it depends, if it's pretty rough, we could get down to 6,500. I'd be fine with that because I do think that dips will get bought eventually, and I would help reset some things. I'm going to talk about breadth and VIX and show you guys some of that as to what we're kind of looking for. But right now we did get a pullback. Now I'm just trying to figure out if it wants to go further. If it doesn't want to go further, we're set. We're already long on a lot of things. And if it goes down further, then we can buy the dip. Okay, then if we look at the Qs, this too was fairly obvious about price being very, very high up. Just look at this run that we had leading up into CPI and then after CPI. Beautiful bounce off of the daily 50, and then we just got extended. And that is also part of why we shorted the market and were successful on that. But now it got a little oversold. Now we're kind of drifting up. And now really the question I have is this up into resistance? And do we actually come down a little bit further? I'm fine with it does. And if it doesn't, we'll take course with that too. And then if we look at QQQE, this is another way of just kind of visualizing, seeing that the market had jumped up. Remember, this is the equal weight. And so this is kind of like the small caps and everything else. They love the idea of rate cuts. And that is why we saw this thing jump up. But remember, it ran right into resistance and then it kind of backed off a little bit. But hey, look at that. It's right back up. So a lot of these things, I am also prepared for the market to kind of digest. That's why I'm saying I don't know if I'm really looking for the market to go down. Maybe it could go sideways. We could flag for a while. So I'm kind of open-minded to that. But you can see here we might just kind of be going sideways for a little bit. We can also look at the IWM. The IWM was getting a little extended. You can also see here, if I put my cursor, you can see we did make new highs for the IWM. But again, it was kind of, it was getting a little bit long out here, long in the tooth. Just, the market had been up for so many days, and you finally got that kind of sugar rush, the icing on the cake as far as the rate cut news, and it did jump things, but then it kind of came back down. So we could be seeing some digestion in through here. I wouldn't be surprised if markets want to just go sideways and rest for a little bit. We are still a little bit in some seasonal weakness as far as the end of September, maybe even the beginning of October. And again, you guys are probably seeing this and feeling it with your own accounts. If we look at the SMH, we continue to see strength in here. I think NVIDIA is eventually going to go higher. I think AMD is going to go higher. I believe this jump was the Intel news and all that kind of stuff. NVIDIA investing $5 billion or something into Intel. And then there was something else that popped that up there. I'm kind of forgetting what it is right now. But yeah, generally semiconductors are looking very strong. Now, maybe a little bit too strong. You can see here, again, outside of the 30 ATR, and they mostly kind of just been chilling sideways. So if this pulls back, I would not be surprised. I'd welcome it because I do think that any kind of pullbacks will eventually get bought. And you can see here, this is still kind of a little excessive on the upside. So whether it goes down or sideways, I would welcome that. All right, then we look at FNGS, FNGU, and this was another indication. If you look here, very similar to the NASDAQ, just another indication that the market coming into this week from the end of last week was just getting too high. There really wasn't that much room to go. You can see here it was just running up against its upper 30 ATRs, and it was just too much. And look, now we've pulled back. So the question is this going to be a gentle pullback like this where it comes down, goes sideways, or are we going to get a little bit deeper of a dip? Still not really sure yet. Playing this day by day until we get a clearer picture, and we'll go from there. ARKK. This was, again, another just obvious sign that the market was getting overbought and that we should expect a pullback. Just basically jumping the shark. I mean, look at the thing. Up, really just jumping the hurdle. Outside of the third ATR, pulling away from the 8 EMA. Great move, but just too much. And that's why we're starting to see pullbacks like this. I do think this is a continuation. I do think we are in the next leg of the market into the end of the year. But of course, there are going to be ebbs and flows. This is a flow. This is an ebb. Now we're waiting and we'll see when the next flow is. And that's kind of what it comes down to, guys. So just protect yourself during this time and don't get over leveraged. Okay, so that pretty much takes care of the indices, run-of-the-mill pullback so far. And even if it comes down a little bit more, that's okay. Now let's take a look at breadth. So let me show you here. And I was commenting to the Moxie subscribers today while I was on the mic, and I was actually saying I was a little surprised to see how this isn't really going down. Maybe the pullback has already kind of been factored in. You can see that, yes, the number of stocks over their 20-day and 50-day SMA have already been pulling back for basically a month. You can see towards the end of August that this has been dropping. So we were getting fewer and fewer stocks moving up while the market continued to move up. And that was telling us also to kind of be careful with the market at its all-time highs and that it was likely to pull back. And so we got that. And amazingly, with that drop yesterday, didn't really move the needle on this. And now we've got the bounce up, and you can see this is up again. And so I'm a little open-ended on this one too. I was kind of wondering if we're going to see kind of a kerplunk and then move up like this, or if this thing's just going to come down to an equilibrium, wait for the market, and then maybe we actually start cycling up at some point. So just being aware of it, and we'll see if it starts to give us any clues into the future. All right, now let's go over to the VIX and the UVIX. And this is where I have been discussing with the Moxie traders the potential, the possibility that we could be seeing a little bit more downside in the market is because the VIX and the UVIX are starting to trend up. We haven't quite seen this before. Yeah, pop, pop, pop. But the difference there is that they all kind of had the daily 50 in a downtrend. And now the daily 50 looks like it's kind of going flat. There could be something changing here. We also see the Moxie indicator has really been going green the last few weeks. And we do have a squeeze. And you can even see here the Moxie indicator has been staying over zero. And you can also see that price has been holding the hourly 50 and starting to trend up. And that is another reason why we were expecting the market to pull back this week. Now, at this point, obviously the VIX dropping a little bit, we're going to have to see, is there going to be any more follow through to the upside? Because if the market wanted to go down, if the VIX wanted to go up, I think it is positioned to do that. I think that even though today's down, I think this is, even if it comes down, I think it is positioned to go higher if it wanted to. If it doesn't, then great, then it doesn't. But I think we need to be prepared just in case it does. And if we look at the UVIX, once again, you can kind of look at the hourly chart. There's really been nothing to work with. Every time it pops up, it fails and comes back down. But if we look closer, it was starting to spend a little bit more time here. And now I also said that it doesn't have to hold it, but I am going to be watching to see if this does any sort of double bottom and then maybe kind of move up. Again, nothing to work with right here, right now. But if this, it does seems like it's building. And so if this decides to start trending back up, I think we need to be aware of that, because this could give us a little bit of a clue. And what I mean by clue, and this is what I talk about in my room all the time, is if you actually look last week, if you look right here, this was the 22nd. The 22nd, the market was still going up, but the UVIX was also going up and actually starting to hold. That was the thing that was giving us a clue that the UVX was basically calling the bluff of the market. And that was another way that we were getting prepared that the market was going to move down. And so that's why we captured that 70% gain on the call credit spread. All right, so that's kind of what I'm seeing in through here, just kind of a heads up and some warnings, but nothing quite concrete at this moment. Okay, bull. Now, let me see if I can get my phrase right. There was a firm out there that initiated coverage. Those of you in the Moxie room, you know what we're laughing about, but I think I got that right. So they initiated coverage with a price target of 18. And we have been in this ticker for a while. I think we got in right about here. We kind of been hanging on to it, but we added to it right in through here, actually, right about there was it where we added to it. And that's because we got a double bottom, positive divergence, and the Moxie price trigger. If you guys do not have the Moxie indicator, I'm telling you, it is a great thing, because you will see these setups coming. You will see double bottoms like this, you'll see the divergence, and then the Moxie price trigger right there. The Moxie indicator is here to be your friend and to help you trading. So if you guys still need help with this thing, remember, come over to simplertrading.com/Moxie, and that's where you can pick up this indicator. You can pick up the classes, and then you can start learning and trading the way that I do based on these things, and then you can be a part of these kind of trades. Also, join the trading room. That's what we're here for. We're trying to help people with their financial future succeed in markets like this. This is really the time to be aggressive, because this is a good market. It really is. It's a very good market. And look here, you can see the amount of volume that has been coming into this ticker. So certainly something happening, and it looks like Webull is starting to get back on track. Okay, Lucid. Now, I don't know what it is about Lucid, but anytime I post about Lucid or post on X or even just do like Lucid something, so many people start talking about it. I didn't, maybe there's like a following for it, but Lucid gets a lot of attention, and I've been trading this. We did take a little bit of a dip in through here as we got the reverse split. And, I got some questions about that. It wasn't looking great. And I had told the Moxie subscribers, I said, stick with it. I think this thing is okay. I think they're just kind of manipulating it. And sure enough, we had all of our Moxie setups and follow through and rules and everything. There's the Moxie price trigger. It held moving averages, and look at this thing up. It's still up, even though the market has been pulling back over the last few days. Now, I don't necessarily think that's going to last. I think we should expect a pullback. I would welcome a pullback, and I think that would be where we can get a fantastic dip in order to buy more Lucid. So, yeah, anywhere in there. But I think Lucid is really starting to rebound. I think this was the final dip for Lucid, and I think we're going to start seeing it actually trend back up. So we will see if this actually garners a lot of attention out there, because Lucid always, I don't know, there's like a cult following out there on the internet that's loves it when I discuss Lucid. So we've been in it, we got leaps, we got a longer term play. I think this thing is going to start moving up in earnest from here. Okay, then TEM. I wanted to show you TEM, Galaxy, SOLT to just kind of show you that there has been pullbacks, okay? And we're still in some of these names. TEM, we have been trading this thing all the way since back here. We had a really nice move up here, and look at that, pretty hard move down, but that's okay. I think this is actually going to end up being a buy the dip situation, basically into the daily 50. Got to let it shake out a little bit more, but I think you should have eyes on this as a way to buy the dip. I don't see any problems. This is just a run-of-the-mill pullback. Of course, if you guys have a position, of course it stings. You're down 4 days in a row. Like, yeah, it's uncomfortable. But you should be prepared for something like this. And if you find yourself panicking and getting out there, or not knowing how to actually get back in when something is down like this, then you guys need to come over to the Moxie room, simplertrading.com/Moxie. Come join. You can see the testimonials that I keep posting from other people who are in the room. You can ask me questions. I'm on the mic every single day, at least an hour, talking to everybody, and that's really where you can get the value of how you can figure out these things, because I will talk to you. I'll actually answer everybody's questions and say, this is what we're doing. And we follow these things every single day so that you can see how these things work and how they move and drift around and do all that kind of stuff. You can learn directly from me. Okay, Galaxy. Here's another one. I have been lamenting about trying to get back into this thing because we had to take a break-even exit right there because this thing took forever to finally turn around. And as this thing kept going up, I was like, oh man, I really, really want to get back into this thing, but I don't want to chase it. Well, look what we did. This is actually a gift. The fact that Galaxy has now been down for, I don't know, 2 days, I think this is a gift. And it's probably coming back into support like that. I am chomping at the bit to get back into Galaxy, GLXU, and any kind of options that I want to do with this thing. So I would certainly be paying attention to this one as part of the kind of crypto play, crypto miner, AI power play. There's something here. So once again, if you guys want to know how we're getting into this and getting these kind of plays, come join the Moxie Room. That's where you're going to get everything. SOLT, also just wanted to be straightforward with you guys. We got in here. Nice move up here. Well, I think it was something like 40, what is this thing? 40 something, 53% that this thing went up. And look at this, we're right back down to break even. Yeah, okay. So of course, it would have been nice to take in some profits. I did see that this thing was getting excessive, but you know what? I didn't think this was going to pull back as hard as it did. Of course not. If I did, then I would have taken some profits. But now that it's here, like, okay, I think it's coming right back into support. It is right back at our break even. In fact, I see volume coming into this, and I think this is eventually going to be a buy the dip. So, we got to kind of dance with the market, and this is one of those things where you kind of got to put on your ballerina shoes or you put on your elf shoes and you start dancing with the market. And in this kind of case, I think dips are going to be viable, and I think this is probably going to end up being a dip. And so we can always add more to it. This is why you want to make sure you have a little bit of dry powder to be able to work for a stock like this. And until this thing gets worse, I think this is about the end of it, and we should see if this can start recovering on its way up. Okay, Tesla, absolute beast. I was looking for a little bit more of a pullback because here it is dealing with some resistance. I don't know if we're going to get a pullback. We might actually just get a flag until this thing goes higher. We took some profits here at 220%. And we did get a dip. I guess I should have bought back in, but I was kind of hoping that maybe we get a little bit more of a dip. I'm going to have to see if that happens next week. I don't know. Otherwise, I might just have to hold my nose, add more into this because I think it's going higher. I don't exactly know where. People have been kind of talking and speculating about 500. I think that's reasonable. I could see Tesla at 500. The question is in what time frame. But as long as you have enough time to get to 500, yeah, I think that's going to happen. But yeah, Tesla looking very, very strong. All right, D-Dog. This is another one that I have just been watching and talking about. And, the market's pulled back. Yes, this thing's kind of been all over the place, but really, I think it's just sideways. I think this is actually looking into becoming a bull flag. And it was up today. I think we should have eyes on this. I think Datadog, given the sector and what's strong out there, I think this is something that we should be paying attention to. And make your trade. All right, then bullish. BLSH. This is still a relatively new stock. I have not traded this thing yet, but I am starting to see some signs that this could be of interest. First of all, you can see that there's been a double bottom. Okay, that's great. And then you can see here we had earnings, all that kind of stuff. And I didn't really want to go chase it because I don't like to trade earnings. And yes, there was a move, but look, here's a pullback. So again, we were prepared that the market was going to be pulling back. That also meant we didn't have to go chase positions like this. We didn't have to chase something that was all the way up here because having the market pull back is now bringing this back into an area that could end up being good for us. So I think this is another stock that you guys want to be aware of, that this could end up being a good dip buy for a relatively new name. Doesn't have much history, still could kind of do anything, but at least you wouldn't be chasing the highs, and I think this could end up being a good situation. So for those of you in the Moxie Room, be on the lookout. Maybe sometime next week, I'll throw a trade out here on BLSH, even though we got a lot of tickers that are going right now. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good time out there. Remember, simplertrading.com/Moxie. I would love to see you guys in the room. I'm here to help, and I think we got a lot of happy campers, a lot of happy traders in the Moxie Room, as you guys can see from the testimonials. And come on in, say hi, tell me you're new, and we'll take care of you. All right, guys, see you next week.